I think I'll just start off right now.
Sure, please.
All right. Okay. All right. And we are live. And thank you all for joining in today for this wonderful interaction with United World School Institute of Design, based at Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Now, a lot of students and faculty have been and parents have been really reaching out to us, saying, okay, I want to meet this school, I want to meet the management of the school. And it's always been a little bit um, parents would love that interaction. So we said, instead of meeting directly, why don't we bring them to you, and so that you can directly meet with them and ask them your questions and interact with them directly. All right. So glad to have Colonel Surojit Bose here. Colonel Surojit Bose is the Director of Academics and International Collaborations at United World Institute of Design. He's done a lot for the school over the last few years, I think from 2017, and he's worked with a lot of collaborative partnerships with the top design schools, right, across Europe, Asia, and UK, and apparently Canada and Americas are yet to start, but hopefully soon. All right. But he's been with pretty much many of the design schools all across India, the top design schools. And yeah, he comes from a background of being the chief of army staffs. uh, he's got the commendation card for that. He's been in the military service for 23 years. So definitely a good backing here, a very disciplined backing, which has helped him really work towards management of multiple schools all across India and doing really well for them. All right. Colonel Surojit Bose, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you,
Uh,
Dion.
we also have Professor uh, Devjani Mukherjee, and she's here. She's the head of animation and motion graphics. I do hope that some of you all here are looking forward to that course. Uh, they are going to be talking about the school for the first 15-20 minutes, maximum about half an hour, and then after that we'll open it out for questions. Now, those of you who are in the Zoom meeting could ask your questions directly, or you could type it out. And those of you who are on YouTube Live could also type out your questions out there, and we'd be happy to answer them for you, or we'd ask the faculty on your behalf. All right. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Oh, before that, hold on. Um, one more thing. When it comes to applying, we hope you have applied already to United World Institute of Design. But just in case you have not applied, I'm going to put this. Um, just one second. I'm going to send you the link. Let me share my screen. Okay. I'm going to. Yeah, you need to come down um, to DQ Edge. On DQ Edge, you will see information about the school, all the information that you like, and you can get um, the brochure and all of that here. And you can also have the personal the application link for you. So you can click on this link and directly get into the application for the school. All right. So I'm going to stop my screen share here, and over to you, Colonel Bose. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come here, Colonel Bose.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I had to rush because we were talking to someone in the UK just few minutes back because we
All
have
right.
these sort of Zoom meetings across the world. So my day starts in the morning and goes up pretty much late in the night. And so all students, parents, all under the charge of Dion. A very good evening to you all. A good evening to some of the members of our marketing team who are also on the screen share. Welcome, Debjani. So the good news is that for the last month or so, we are all back in campus. I, like as part of what Dion said, from March 10th have shifted into the campus. So I've been the last man standing, so to speak, in campus, looking after so many other things. So today, what we are trying to do is give you a little bit understanding why we are the fastest growing design school in India. Why are we having about 150 to 170 faculty members for about 2000 or thereabout students? Why are we having about nearly 40 acres of campus? And why did, during this pandemic, we reimagined our spaces? We have now not only the Adobe Digital Academy, that is, all students joining here get a Adobe CC license. They get many other hardcore licenses which are going to look at them for all their software solutions. But we also established three top things for us, and I'll explain why. The irony is, from a disciplinary background, I have to talk about transdisciplinary design education, which we have made UID now, because that's what we hear whenever we have been traveling. Uh, I apologize, because of the pandemic around us, we couldn't physically come to Bangalore and meet the parents, which we have been doing over time, year on year, and the students, to actually tell you about this, the things which are happening here. So, amongst the various spaces, we now have a high-end Yakasawa Robotics Center. We have a AI and automation lab. We have set up what is called the Digital Innovation Future Labs, which has 3D printers, which has AR, VR, which has a holograph, so that animation students. So one of the top students of Devjani, along with one of our faculty, developed the mascot for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's called ANI. And what better than to see it on the holographic table enacting itself? So that's the level of what we call reaching out to Industry 4.0, looking at where design and tech are going forward. So, as the world is grappling with so many intense complexities and various layers, we find that in many ways the interdisciplinary thinking, design, and practice is coming about. And when I open out, I'll be able to tell you that the future of tomorrow, the future of work 2025, which we get from the World Economic Forum, the skills which are required for 2020, these are all imbued and absorbed into our curriculum. So both at the curriculum end and the infrastructure end, with the solid backing of the career services department, we try to make you as industry ready as you can be. Now we know design has been through many times, but this is the first time, or this is the time for designers when they are making waves. They are looking at transformational changes, not only in the product and services, but also in various areas they are going to go. When we say that a student of ours is supposed to have a diverse range of skills, whether it's analytical skills, synthetic skills, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, time management. These are all the skills of 2020 and beyond. These skills get absorbed when you have spaces which are transdisciplinary in a very creative campus. So, without further ado, I will be getting into some of the aspects of how we have brought in critical, creative coding right up to semester one. We have reworked, reimagined our first year to make it a truly interdisciplinary first year. And when the students trooped in on the 18th of Feb, and they went into straight into open electives where someone was doing illustration, a fashion designer was in the product design lab, a product designer was in the visual communication lab. So how that skill and how that bonhomie we could see after nearly incarceration at wherever they were for the last so many months. So, with this as a background of what I want to talk about, why study in UID. So, I'll share my screen and just give me a moment to get back to you on that. Yeah, can the screen be seen? Yeah, great. So there are various epithets and various things talked about design, but the one I like most is intelligence made visible. And when we talk about design, we go back to our legacy. Go back to our foundations, and we see that the late Kumar Vyas, who was the founder of NID, has been lighting the lamp for UID in 2012. And all the people around him, we get a sense that we have to carry the torch of design forward. Now, we have iconic people in design. We have people who talk about designers, their capability to improve not only their uh, areas, but also look at nature, machines, look at ourselves, look at human centered design. Uh, so, what do you expect? So, I wanted to pose the question, what do you expect in the design school? And that I think is top of the mind of all faculty, all students, their parents. So, first is the faculty and teaching pedagogy. Now, when we did our global design program, we went with our curriculum to three different institutes, the top ones in their own country: Australia, UK, and Europe. And each aspect was mapped to the ECTS standards, to the QA standards, to the AFQ standards. So the competency of faculty to map credits, to look at levels, to look at level outcomes is borne by the fact that we value our faculty, and faculty is the main bone and structure of any institution. Pedagogy comes through immediately switching over to Blackboard Learn and Blackboard Collaborate, which are one of the topmost LMSs. The moment we got some sense that we have to change things because of the transmission, because the way the pedagogy has to move to blended learning, not online learning. So we moved our timetables, we started faculty development programs, we got a lot of people from outside. I can proudly say that today I'm part of the Blackboard APAC region, the committee, and we meet every 2 weeks from someone from Philippines, someone from Australia, someone from Malaysia, so that we are looking at how to move pedagogical issues. Now, in many ways, not only is Ahmedabad one of the safest cities in India, but also is gradually ratcheting up to be the design capital of India. You have some of the top institutes in Ahmedabad. So, getting associated faculty, adjunct faculty, visiting faculty becomes so easy to places like where we are situated. Some pictures of campus and what you have heard the talk from people, you'll get to know how the campus life enriches your design sense, how most of design and most of your thinking happens in campus after classes, where the studios are open till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. A gated campus where all the girl students stay in their hostels, the safety of campus life. And the cutting edge, state of the art workspaces, tinkering labs, maker labs, and the fact that we are now being seen to be even looking by the government of India. Every year we have global conclaves. So we did the Ahmedabad Design Week, and I can proudly say that I had a screen share of 5,000 students with the presidents of all the design associations of the world. That is ICOGRADA, Jonathan Stebley, Srini Srinivasan from World Design Organization, Hemant Sutar from the Association of Designers India, Pradmna Vyas, ex-director of NID, as well as the senior advisor in CII, Dr. Mariana from New York on for as Cumulus. So that is the way we look at the future of design and the future. So this year it was toying in design, last year it was the future of design. So this is a look at our campus, and this is how where some part of UID is, but not the expansion which you can see. So traditionally, design has been a practice of doing, making great things, great products which fitted your life. And gradually, what we saw that that the STEM got into STEAM, we got into innovation. So some people call themselves the innovation university. Some people call them the research university. But that is part of the DNA at UID. Our faculty papers are valued across the world. They are part of working groups in the Cumulus, in the IFT, in the WDO. We have had WDO, UID, all the three coming in the last global conclave called ADW 2.1 in January, a year before last. And this year we had it in February. So now what is looking at design is getting very much tech led. That's where the jobs of UI UX are there. That's where the jobs of the industry 4.0, that's where the jobs of, and that's how we make them ready. That it's not only product and services, but it's also the tools of design and the experience. And some of the cutting edge prototypes they put up are into a realm where it needs to be tested through the design thinking and the critical thinking way. And that's the way we want them to keep on researching and looking at a product to make it fine. Whether it's the animation, the Annie which was made has gone to the Prime Minister's office, whether the same thing is getting created as a 3D in a 3D lab. Similarly, a soft toy is getting made by our textile department. So there is a holistic way design is moving, plus the voiceovers and making it into an animated character. And that's just one with 3 students. When we had the industry toy fair, India Toy Fair 2021, just a few days back, which was launched by the Prime Minister and sponsored, or the main partners, knowledge partners were UID, iHub of Gujarat, being done, the back end was being done at UID. So that's the type of experience we give to our students, and that's the type of experience we think we can look at. It's time that design is looked at a transformational change. It's looked at as a problem solving activity. It's looked at not only by what it looks, but also it is being led by some of the top companies. So whether it's Apple, Alphabet, all these people are being led by designers. And this is the first time that design thinking, design tech are, when you look at the top companies of the world, when you look at innovative led companies of the world, these are all part and parcel of the designer's playbook. So they are now in organizations, even in politics. If something has to be seen as a structure, there's a designer there. Social entrepreneurship, social innovation. There's a huge lot in a country like India with its inclusivity as the benchmark needs to be done by students. Interaction, which brings in human, which brings the computer, which brings machines, all that in interaction design happens is something which then leads them to jobs in the UI UX area. Service design, experience design. So these are some of the areas where the intersection of art, science, social, behavioral, all parts are now getting into what the designer does, When as they move up the semesters, what happens as project-based learning, practice-based learning, the whole world is talking about that, and most of it is in the national education policy of interdisciplinary design, open electives, and which looks at the future of the workforce of tomorrow. Now, this is in somehow encapsulates what design is getting to be. It has arts, it has humanities, it has high tech, it has business, and what better than a campus like Karnavati, where some classes are taken by faculty from the School of Liberal Arts and Mass Comm, some by the School of Law, some by the School of Business. And there are many med techs in our startup zone which take a lot of influence and activity and support from our dental school. So designers are now a force to reckon with. They ideate, there's a whole process, they are multidisciplinary, they address emotions. And when we look at design education at UID, it is rather unique in the sense that we have large spaces for our students. They have theory, but immediately that translates to a workshop, to a maker, to a studio, to a lab, where all the tools of communication are unleashed while they go through the entire design process. We know design knowledge is not like medicine or law where there are large number of books. They are given a reading list, but they have to research from the net, research in the libraries, research through all the types of software driven areas like WGSN, like Bloomsbury, like JSTAR, all the things which are available in, they need it. And through a very meticulously driven research, they look at project briefs, they look at project solutions, and through a very problem solving, design thinking, lateral thinking way, they need to come up, and that is assessed, and that's how they go. But the core is the design process. So we believe our design education sits on these three verticals. Now, when we look at reimagining our curriculum, so what have we kept besides the board of studies, the academic board, and the governing council? UID has its own uh, quality assurance and academic standards office. So anything which has to go through has to move through that process. All the curriculum goes through so many indicators, whether there's employability, is it looking at research, is it looking at skills building. So how are the learning outcomes cut out for semester 1 and 2, semester 3 and 4, semester 5 and 6, quite in the way other international globally benchmarked curriculums are made, and they go through a due process before nearly 8 months or 9 months, the whole team gets together, gets the industry profile people inside, do decides, deliberates, comes up with solutions, and only then it meets the exact requirements of UGC. And we look at some of the 21st century skills. When we look at, let us say, transdisciplinary, we know that the worker of tomorrow has to be T-shaped. There has to be a spine of maybe product design, but has to know visual communication, has to know certain areas of lifestyle accessories, has to know other related areas of speciality taught in the interior design and furniture design. So besides this, we also follow what are the top skills required for 2025. If you look at this World Economic Forum, analytical thinking and innovation, topmost skill required for being successful in future. Active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, tech, design, and programming. So we have a number of faculty from Chennai, from Bangalore, Hyderabad, year round Ahmedabad, and they are part of infusing AI into the curriculum, the startup, the types of prototyping, the type of their products which they go for a very technical TCP in the third year has IoT, has robotics inside. in their design sense. So it's a great area which is addressing the future of design education. Not to forget sustainability. Sustainable development goals of 2030, especially 11 and 12, these become part and parcel of when learning outcomes are culled out on our curriculum. Since designers per se are creative, we need to recognize how we can imbue that inside the classroom, how to imbue content, cognitive skills, process skills, and social skills, and part of the makeup. And how do we do it in UID? The portfolio team, as well as the career services team, from the year two onwards, or generally second year, they start developing their portfolio, they start developing their skills to be ready for the industry. So it is every year there's an audit of how they need to take out a week or more into seeing how they have learned and how they have gone through the process over the last year. So we brought in blended learning because we know just online doesn't work in the area of design. So our faculty and students are more now, you find them in the workshops and testing whatever online has happened in the last 6 or 7 months and working in the workshops, metal workshop, wood crafting workshop, and many other such places, textiles, fashion, uh, the couture workshops. We know that we have to be ready for the making them ready for industry 4.0. Can it be heard, Gopal?
Yes, sir, it's audible. Perfect.
So the courses which are for students to sit for our entrance exam, which is going to be hybrid in the sense that there will be centers and certain places we have an online, very agile proctored system of examination. So we have 8 courses in BDES and 4 master's courses. Uh, we also have a very successful course called
So the background score is not there, sir.
yeah.
It's not audible.
Okay, one second, one second, one second.
If you, sir, if you have the link to
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
is
yeah,
there a YouTube link or something? I can put that in the chat box and people can
that's
also watch it later.
yeah. I'll just be fast about it. Let me just see. Now, can you hear, Gopal? Gopal, is it audible? Okay. So in this course, you are in the 3rd semester. You are in Australia, Swinburne Institute of Technology, one of the topmost in Melbourne. The next year, you are in Domus Nava in Italy, Milan, and the last year, UK. And one is dealing with level 6 outcomes, one is level 5 outcomes, and one is doing with the level 4 outcomes. It's a very well thought through curriculum, and this is how very transdisciplinary. So when we look at yesterday's or day before's interaction with Swinburne, we could see how they will be able to be part of the design factory. Now, design factories are very few across the world. So our students will be going through that process whenever they are in Swinburne. And similarly, there's a separate multicultural classroom and multi-diverse international faculty base. So why study design in UID is something which I think, has covered. Very experienced faculty, state-of-the-art workshops, interdisciplinary collaborative teaching, celebrating unified and diverse cultures. We have students from nearly 22 states of India and a very vibrant alumni desk. Maybe among the few institutions which has its own craft village inside the campus. So we have a craft innovation center where students from abroad will come and be here with us for 2 weeks, quite like the summer schools where our students are given scholarship. The first one gets a scholarship for full scholarship, and the next gets a half scholarship to go abroad and do a 15 to a month's summer school. Unfortunately, since March, we couldn't move forward. I'm sure, let's see how things move, uh, whether it can be in July or in January 2022, based on how and when we are out to a large extent of our current situation. So we have our workshops and our infrastructure quite legendary, even by standards of some of the topmost, very old institutions of India. Uh, Here again, as we say, seeing is believing. We have had earlier students coming and seeing and working on the Wacom tablets, working on very, very high-tech media labs, and now the digital future labs. So we have taken a full 100 and nearly a 360 upgrade of all our infrastructure. Master classes, seminars, visits, the career services department, industry, academia connect, classroom to corporate connect. So these are some of the things which give that edge to a student, uh, whether they are part of the startup culture, whether they are part of international collaborations. Now, this whole Vespa denim had to be shown in the Milan Fashion Week. Unfortunately, we couldn't send our stuff there. Hopefully, this is revived, and in the next academic year, we'll be able to take it to even more international schools to have a very, very internationally, not only internships, but also very international projects in classroom. Uh, the KU Global, the third pillar on which is our international collaborations with some of the top institutes across the world. We allow students to do their masters abroad. We coach them, we mentor them, we connect them, we give them visa advice, and we open out master classes for them to come and talk and teach our students, bring in international flavor, perspectives. Members of the Association of Commonwealth Universities. Being part of KU also means that you're a member of the AIU, Association of Indian Universities, which allows you free travel, which allows you visas, which allows you no restrictions on, let's say, your loans, no restrictions on visas, no restriction on whatever is part of the academia authorized in India as per the UGC norms. We are members of some of the topmost design universities. And what it brings is international collaboration, members to come and do master classes, international internships, student exchanges, faculty exchanges. So these are some of even the local British Council gives our students certain scholarships to go abroad on 2-week, 3-week trips. So what means, why is design now looking, or the creative? When we have launched a gap year program, we see that very people who have not been in design want to get into creative industry. And that is something of a movement because of the way a designer's ability to look at things from a lens which is not generally seen by others. They're able to marry science and arts, maybe something to integrate, to empathize with what is there going to be the final solution. So my advice is just be cool for the exam. The design aptitude test is something where it looks at certain skills, certain basic questions, a little bit of rendering and skilling, and later I'll send a sort of, today being a little bit short, an entire presentation for Dion to show on YouTube, how to improve your portfolio. What do you look like? How does a question paper look like? And some of the normal areas you think you prepare yourself, whether for any exam, whether it is NID, NIFT, any of UID exam, so that you have a very confident when you go to the exam table. Uh, Design is now near to getting all.
This is monochromatic light. It looks like there is no colors.
Can you hear it?
But have a look at this. This is what design is about.
Yes, sir.
Design is everywhere.
Hey guys.
Hi, everybody.
It's a basic building block for our imagination.
What we consider truth depends on how you look at it.
There is no obvious route from beginning to end. And there's no guarantee of getting to the end either.
It can be really scary because there's lots of people that need to know what your vision is. The ideas are endless.
You have to question yourself in order to create. I love showing this is possible.
It has to do something better than what came before.
We can play together. We can live together.
There's nobody in the room. There's also no art.
Yeah. So I thought that I give you a little bit of an understanding of design, and I'd like Debjani to talk a little bit about herself and a little bit about the course she runs. And many congratulations to your students for making, in very short time, animated character which is now traveling across India to somewhere. Yeah, Debjani, please.
Thank you, sir. I did my graduation. I'll start from that in Ecostat Maths. And during that time, I was really, really passionate to make films. But, at that time, NID had a diploma program. And my parents were like, no, you should have a degree course before you get into a diploma. So, well, that is how my journey started. I did the BSc. And then for my master's, went to NID in animation filmmaking. And after 5 years of teaching experience in the field, I'm presently doing my PhD from IIT Bombay on indigenous art pedagogy. And since last year, I'm associated with UID. And yeah, this were the really difficult times with the pandemic going on.
Yeah.
To tackle with the UID wasn't closed for even one day. Parallelly, we were running students as well as learning and handling the various LMS platforms available. We cracked it, now presently doing blended learning. And yes, so that's how the design journey progressed since last year to present. So if you have any questions, maybe, we are very short of time, and I'm sure you'll have some questions.
So anyone can lead. If there are any top of the mind questions, then I'll take on and.
All right. So let me just check. Right. So those who are on YouTube, there are some questions over there. All right. So starting with Sheila Nagarkati, she's asking if the course is a diploma or a degree.
Okay. So we run what is
it's a degree
authorized. It's a 4-year Bachelor of Design and a 2-year Master's Design courses. We also run PhD programs. So these are the 3 types of courses at UID under the Kanavati University.
Yeah, it's a pure degree program.
Yes, you have BDes and then
MDes.
MDes. All right, and with the
also
exchange programs that you'll have, the programs abroad, what is that a BDes as well?
Yeah, that's a 4-year BDes approved by the Kanavati University. But any student who goes there gets a certificate of being there of what the courses they have done, and also gets a transcript, and which adds to their CV, and they have a step up over others to have a really global understanding of design, and that's been the USP of that course.
Fantastic. There's a question from Yashpal Kakad who's saying, going abroad, is it optional or is it mandatory?
So there are various ways which look at internationalization. One is international faculty in campus. Second is travel of international faculty when they come to India to do a module or a workshop or stay with us in our campus for a few days or a few weeks. So this has been, some faculty have been there even for 2 or 3 weeks and done courses and modules across various departments. There is also the fact that if you do well in your semester exam and as per your year's performance, you will be given a scholarship to go for summer schools in about 25 to 30 institutes where we have very strong MOUs. And lastly is that where in the GDP, the program, it is mandated, and that is why it has been structured that the entire class goes for 13 to 14 weeks every odd semester from the second year onwards for a structured course in these 3 institutions abroad.
All right. I hope that question has answered. Sheila Nagarkati is also asking, what are the courses available?
Yeah.
The courses option, and where can they get that information?
Yeah. So it is there in the admission form. It is there on the website. It is there when I speak. So we have courses which are 4-year courses. The first year is a very transdisciplinary foundation course, which is something which I think everyone is picking up after us. Earlier, there was a very multi-transdisciplinary course, which was 1 semester. Then it moved into the entire year, where they get to know all the various courses and they get influences from faculty from all the other institutions, other schools. So we have BDes, fashion design, product design, visual communication graphics, animation and motion graphics, automobile and transportation design. You have lifestyle accessory, interior and furniture design. And these, and besides the 8, these undergraduate, you have an undergraduate global design program, and you have an integrated master's, which is a fast track program to your master's. It staves off 1 full year. It has received a huge number in the last year when it was first launched. It is truly transdisciplinary and it has been made as per the UGC guidelines of a choice-based system, wherein you can do micro specializations within the program itself. And it is something which is very valued when you try and go abroad for your further studies. So when we go for a program, it is a lot of deliberate. The marketing gives you intelligence, the market intelligence. The faculty and the ASQC does their own understanding of the market, makes it globally benchmarked. Only then a curriculum is launched. And you know, in universities, there's a board of studies, there's academic board. So there are a huge number of stages where really quality is imbued because it goes back and forth. It's not that what you submit is going to be accepted. They would look at your level outcomes. They would look at how you have seen the course from 4-5 lenses, employability being one, skill development being other. Third is that sometimes, are you making him a responsible designer? So there are various ways curriculums are seen. And the fact is that how do we do our assessment? There's a team from external and internal, which goes through the entire jury process. That's how our end semester year, and we are very stringent that if you do not have 75% attendance, you will not get a hall ticket. So there are lots of quality systems and processes which we follow.
Awesome. So some people have been asking, where can we get the application link? Where can we get information? So that is on our, if you go onto YouTube, okay, in the description of this particular, of this webinar, you'll find the application link as well as the information link, which is on DQ Edge. So you can do that. Now, a few more questions.
I find Abhinav has raised his hand. Does Abhinav want to say something on the phone, or you?
Yes, sir. I want to say something.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to know about the hostel accommodation.
Okay, great. See, about 1,200 or 1,300 girl students stay inside a 33-acre gated campus. You know, gated means it has got 3 gates and it's security and surveillance through manning as also electronically. Above else, Ahmedabad is known to be, I think, the safest. It's now third in today's list, which has come out of the types of cities in India. It's one of the safest cities. And when Devjani will know in NID, and they stay in Paldi and those areas which are more central, they can go out at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, three students, one extra than what the law provides to go and have a chai at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock. Those things are still, it's still a old world charm of the city, which reflects on the character around. This is as far as the girls are concerned. As far as the boys are concerned, over 500 meters from the gate number 2 is our campus number 2, which has got the business school as also hostels for boys and certain areas where. So the other aspect is that it's not only the cafeteria, games, gym, everything, and you can check it all. I'm sure there are videos available. I'm also staying in the campus, as also about nearly 15 odd families are staying inside the campus. All our international faculty and our adjunct faculty, which come from Bombay, Delhi, Jaipur, Bangalore, Chennai, Kochi, they have homestays inside the campus. So it's nearly a large family staying inside with all the safety, security, and all the facilities which can come inside the campus.
Sir, I have one more doubt. Does hostel fees is included in the tuition fees?
Yeah, can Purnima answer this question, or Gopal?
No, it is separate. So basically, the tuition fees is separate and the hostel fees is separate, because hostel fees is basically dependent on the category that you go for, right? So there are various categories available, right? Twin sharing, then twin sharing AC, non-AC, triple sharing AC, non-AC. So based on that choice, then again, the cost varies. So that is how it is different from the tuition fees.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
All right, a couple of other questions. Colonel Bose, you mentioned some YouTube link for the UID entrance exam format orientation.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah. If you want me, I can show it now if you have time. I have a little bit sort of a tutorial on our entrance exam.
All right. As it, you would want to describe that as it plays?
It's a short description.
Go ahead.
I can just If I have the share link, I can just show it just to get an understanding what it is.
Of course. Please go ahead. This is your time.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Okay. So what we have is a 2+ tier system. There was a time it was a 3 tier, but now we have a 2+ tier system of entrance exam to UID. The first is the design aptitude test. Just a minute, it will take a little while to get in. Yeah. So it's the design aptitude test followed by what is called the situation test. It's also called a creative ability studio test. And this is what you'll get to see when you go at admissions@uid.com or you look into karnavati.edu.in. You will get a whole area of what are the courses, what is the date of the exam, and how to look at admissions for the designer. So in the first is tier 1 is the design aptitude test, which is going to have for PG and UG on the 21st of March. Now we are going out to nearly 16 cities, but with the COVID situation in Maharashtra and what comes, we are trying and getting what is called the commissioner's approval for Mumbai, and some may change a bit, but we are definitely there in Bangalore. Am I right, Gopal? Yeah. And today we have also decided who are going where, etc., etc. The first is the design aptitude test. Come April, normal years, and maybe June after they have done their pen and paper class 12 or equivalent in IB, Cambridge, whatever, we will be scheduling what is called the creative studio test, which happens in the campus. Last year, we did it online. Natural, because at that time, there was no other way, there was travel. But we think the way things are going, everyone taking a jab, and we know how things brought down drastically in New York and other places once the jabs got through, and maybe the third vaccine introduction, and a general understanding of the importance of getting vaccinated, be it 60 and above, 45 and above, and maybe ground zero. We think that we'll be able to do a creative studio test in campus in the month of June or thereabouts, which will be announced. So that consists of 2 tests. And on the first day, so you have to stay overnight, and we provide accommodation, we provide facilitation, hotels near us. We have tie-ups with a few hotels. So parents generally come. The student takes a test at morning 10 o'clock. It goes on till lunchtime. Then post lunch, they take another test. And the next day, as per, they have to choose their day of coming. They come and do their portfolio evaluation. So just to give you a sense about the, I don't know, yeah. So this is somewhat of a sample paper of what was last year. And things are not going to change much, but there are 3 sections or nearly 4 sections to it with instructions. So while you are in a examination hall, invigilation hands over to you, gives you what instructions to follow. At the same time, the others who have not come and with some will be getting a different admission ticket and will be getting a sort of a where they will take it online. And in the online, the questions are the same, the timings are the same, or everything is same. And today only we tested. So before the online, they will also get a full video of how to go online, what is the meaning of proctoring, and how, because this through AI and very agile system, it also gives you areas where to prevent anything which we, in the realm of malpractice, is also inserted part of your learning. You have to be in front of a webcam. You have to do under certain amount of guidance, and then you'll get an app which scans it and sends. So the MCQ, or the first 20 or 30 questions, are solvable inside the laptop or whatever apparatus you are using, friendly. It's the descriptive where you can do it on a piece of paper, scan it and send. Yeah. So there are, let's say, part A, which is 40%, and part B, which is 60. You get 20 questions of 1 mark, and you have 10 questions of 2 marks. So you get 40 marks for part A. Part B has 10 mark, 20, and 30 mark questions. They'll not, as I'm showing, this is not what it is going to be, because this is last year's paper. But something of this sort, you get a paper where you have to tick whether it's A, B, C, or D. There's only one correct answer, maybe all correct. That depends on how the question has been set. So this is type of questions which you will get in the classroom and in your online. And it's very friendly. It is tested. It's been done by someone which is based out of California, because UID has something as DNA. We only go for the best. Therefore, Felder, Ultimaker, Hewlett Packard, Yakasawa, whatever we have gone through, only the best company in the world makes their center of excellence in UID. So these questions, when they are done, now comes to a slightly more tougher part where you have to describe and put the answer in the given area. If this is it, so I think in some ways on our website, Gopal, you can also see some solved question papers can also be put up if they are not there, for them to understand how this part is dealt with. Now the next part is the part which is descriptive, which is a little bit understanding, tricky. It takes, sometimes it is time absorption. So it sees how you do the time management. Yeah. And some parts of it you're given, you have to draw, but no watercolors. You'll be told what stationery you need. No pen, pencil, scissors, etc., except for a pencil and eraser and some dry colored pencils. And this will be very clear when you get the admission form as to how you look at this question. It can be tougher than this, it can be easier than this, but that doesn't matter. It's a competitive exam. So there is rough work, etc. So this is how the paper is done. We also do for other institutions. So we do the mock test for many other institutions. And many have found that the type of mock test UID organizes is really at par with the best. So the first DAT looks at your general awareness and numeracy. So like the SAT, there are some questions which checks your numeracy. There are fractions, there's BODMAS, there is logic, there's understanding. So your analytical ability, your creative reasoning, data interpretation, communication ability, these are all seen in the first part. In the second part, we look at your hand and rendering skills, your composition, originality, and a creative thought process. So this is those last 6 questions which we saw. And the situation test is you get a toolkit. A toolkit in the morning, a toolkit in the evening. What is not written here is we look at precision. How precise you have used, how you have used all the material. And you have to define the design process you follow. And you have to give a caption to what your creative expression is. So concept development, working to understand what is 3D, how structures are done, a 2D to 3D movement, how you manipulate the material. So you may get some plasticine, or you may get some sort of similar malleable stuff. You may get straws, you may get sticks, you may get such type, some colors, and you have to construct, and there's a theme given, and you have been given options. So there's a write-up, and you are given, you may construct X, Y, or Z, or something. So this happens in the morning, and this happens in the afternoon. Afternoon to check your team building and psychographic character, your makeup. It can form into something of sort of enactment of a particular maybe expression, a dance, some sort of a play to check. So a very multi-hued, talented person is selected through these. And then we come to the part which is your portfolio. Portfolio is seen, it's only about 15 to 20 minutes, where the jury is consistent of someone from outside UID, people from the industry, academics of other institutions. It's a 2-member jury, and they go through your portfolio. And it's something which shows development of your ideas, imagination, personality. But there's no, there's no thumb rule for portfolio. The thumb rules are it should be unique. You should be able to show yourself through this process. You can't show borrowed stuff. The people at the other side are very experienced, who have nearly 15, 20 to 30 years of experience in academia or as practitioners. So sometimes they can go through. And just to illustrate, it's not that you have to bring a big 3D object or many page file. We got a student who just brought her book of poems, and she narrated 3 of her poems. And we saw that she has all that unlocked in her to be a very creative person. Someone made maybe part of Ramayana or part of on a matchbox in very small illustration. Some bring their doodle books. So there's no something. What are you? The people want to understand. So there should be some primary source, some interesting stuff, something which shows what is your hobby, what's been your passion. It could be anything, current issues, old issues, mythology, heritage, whatever. But there are some common mistakes also people do. They try to bring borrowed material, that is copying others' work. Even if a design process or something unfinished is also okay, but there has to be some logic or explanation. You are not a designer yet. That's why you're coming to an institution to become what is a very employable, a cutting edge, a designer of tomorrow. To not only make your parents proud, you yourself have that confidence to move heaven and earth, and also become a great brand ambassador to wherever, whichever is your alma mater or your school. So it has to have aesthetic content, no repetition, nothing formulaic. That's what we are trying to think. Yeah, and we do that. So it's a collection, cutouts, format in any. Is a composition of your work, illustrations. We focus on what is unique, your understanding of aesthetic sensibility, and anything. It could be a digital portfolio, it could be physical models. You are not bound by any structure to produce yourself. The only thing binding is how you translate your inner self. What are you in front of these 15 to 20 minutes you get? So these are some examples of portfolios of graphic, and they have to be not seen from a prism that you're in the 3rd year or the 4th year. You're just out of school. So some of the areas will have some things which need perfection. The whole journey, if you can enact in those compositions, I think that's good enough. So we look at various aspects, your observation skills, etc. So I have a short video for you on, though it's not Indian in a sense, but it by and large conveys how portfolios looked at.
I think it really just needs to show off the range of things which you think best describes you as a person, you as a creative individual. We're looking for people who are passionate about what they're doing, who are really creative. Tell us what you're about. Make sure that you're happy with it.
It's best to use everything. Have fun, experiment, show as much as you can and a range of what you can, because then you're going to look more desirable to them. Be it fabric, be it photos, painting, drawing.
You obviously want to show your best pieces as you want a place, but you should be showing the process as well. The beginning of a project, how you approach that, your creative process, and how you've advanced upon that.
I think it's really important to make them succinct, just like a really simple statement that shows what you were thinking when you were creating that. You know, a lot of people can have different opinions and reactions to art, and so it's important to show people what you were thinking, what you were intending.
Showing us things which maybe didn't work out, as long as they understand why they didn't work out and maybe how to improve that in the future, and that's absolutely fine. Creative failures are still creative acts.
It should read like a story. You know, it should progress through to your initial idea, your development, then it should get to the final piece. So it needs to show you understand the running of things.
I didn't necessarily put it chronologically. I mean, you could, but for me, I preferred to sort of mix it up a little bit.
Really important to include in your portfolio just a piece that really just makes a statement, is a wow piece. That's something that's going to stay with the people that are looking at it. Remember that one piece.
Art is all about being inspired by other artists and what you see around you. It shows that you are interested in your subject, you're branching out, and it's important to show, you know, where that comes from.
Students will have all sorts of hobbies, interesting things, kind of add something. Will this be of interest? That can be really nice to see and just give a bit of range to the portfolio as well.
Making a digital portfolio is going to look exactly like that when you present it.
You can get it out there really easily over email. A lot of people can be seeing it at once.
It's much quicker and it's kind of much more user-friendly. A lot of people appreciate having that quality.
If you come to uni, you're going to have to work with other people.
Ask friends, family.
Your art teachers, your graphics teachers.
You're not cheating by asking someone for help.
They know you, they know how to make your portfolio work for you.
Everybody is completely unique. As long as you love what you've brought, they'll see that.
We're looking for you. We're looking at how you think, what you're about, what really enthuses you, where you want to go with your career. Really gets across who you are as a person.
Sir,
yeah.
Since we are already discussing about it, I just would want to announce that basically, definitely we are going offline when it comes to design aptitude test, and which will be conducted on 21st of March. And Baldwin Boys High School is definitely our center, which we have already tied up with, and it's there in Richmond Town. So that's the center basically.
That's the center in Bangalore. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's another class that's going to start which requires this particular account of our Zoom account, but we have a few questions and a few more minutes to address these questions. I'd like to, there's some nice questions come in, so I'd like to probably pick and choose those. Chandrasekhar Jakula is asking, what's the difference between NID Ahmedabad and UID Ahmedabad? So I thought maybe you can explain that.
So some of what we presented in our presentation is that we carry a huge responsibility of moving the frontiers of design. And why I say it, I proved it because whoever's and the whole team, from the vision of the first Prime Minister to the LOTA project, to what went into making NID, is as also the person who brought NID to what it is today, has been the initiator or the lighter of the lamp, which is the main requirement to ignite and unlock minds and passion and to look at the forefront to making industry ready, is where we started in UID. So there are many similarities and there are many dissimilarities. And I can't hold a candle in the sense that we are a young university. We are agile. We are not government aided. And that gives us a huge amount of, flexibility. And when you have the ex-director who's been nearly 17 years in campus as the last director, and he comes to our campus and he is part of my global conclave and one of the moderations we did, and he speaks very highly about me, I feel very, very enthralled that somewhere we are reaching that iconic status. Point number one. Point number two, we have only one campus. So there's no dilution. And I know what we mean because, as I rightly said, faculty, faculty, faculty. We go to great lengths to select among the top faculty from whichever part of India or from abroad. We do a great way of looking at the entire scape, that is the pedagogical models, the faculty development, the quality assurance, the look at internationally. So the other part is that India Toy Fair, where the prize money was 1 lakh, was won by our third year semester undergraduate product design student. So I don't know how you can make your parents so proud that in the third year in the design school, you win a prize of 1 lakh rupees. I think that says it all for UID. Even when we did the Ahmedabad Design Week, which brought in NID with all the NIDs, which brought in NIT, which brought in IITs, which brought in Roorkee, which brought in all these iconic, as also the other neighboring institutes, the Gujarat University, Anand, Nirma, and such other, the Children's University. They were all parts of so many panels over 5 days. The first prize at the student section was won by a foundation student. And this lady who won the India Toy Prize, and I think Gopal, later on, you can showcase the whole storytelling part of how such young minds are brought in. So one brought the whole Ramayan in some of a gamification. Some of the things our students do, which we don't even teach, just boggles my mind as to how much can a designer, a young designer, stress themselves. You look at Debjani's student and a few of VC. We went for I don't know how many iterations over 7 days because we had a deadline and it had to be seen to be part of a Mann Ki Baat of Prime Minister Modi of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we called it ANI, Atmanirbhar India. And it was made into first a 3D form, then went through the entire VFX, became an animation film. Then there was a voiceover. And Parth and Sakshi are two of the students of 6th semester visual communication who made part of it. And Ayun was a student of animation. And then the faculty of animation motion graphics. So, and I'm sure with robotics lab and the Felder lab for wood crafting and such like, we'll be able to put them even at a higher pedestal. So in some roundabout way, I've tried to answer your question. The difference between UID and NID. A is no dilution in the pedagogical models we follow because we have only one center. So we don't have to replicate things and send faculty first into another center, and for some centers where the absence of people, and it takes time. Every place takes time. Whether you look at how the AIMS in Delhi, everyone would like to go to AIMS Delhi, but there are AIMS now across India. So they'll take time. Initially, they will get temporary staff, and to have that team, the strength of any place, it takes time. Yeah. Anything, Dion?
All right. Right. So I think we've covered most of the questions. I was just looking through the questions. Okay. Nijala, your question was answered. Yashpal Kakad, your question is
So someone
answered.
asked a question. We take 60 as a benchmark.
Yeah.
In 2 sections of 30 each. We don't increase that. Right. So somewhere between 8,000, 9,000 applications, our benchmark is 420. And for any increase, we have to go back to UGC in some way or the other. Not exactly. Yeah. And we also have for expats, not expats, the diaspora, we have an exam sometimes in the month of June, which is just portfolio evaluation from students from Nepal, from Bangladesh, from neighboring countries, as also the MENA region. So we have a whole international team which channelizes students who come from neighboring countries and also far off countries. Now that we have grown in stature and most programs are globally benchmarked, so there's that new confidence that there are a lot of students from Nepal, Bangladesh, even as far as Malaysia looking at studying in the UID.
Awesome. Um, so the exam date is on the 21st of March.
Yeah,
This is for to
And it is 1 to 4,
1
if
to
I'm
4.
not wrong. Yeah.
1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So we are yet to decide on the reporting time. Probably it would be somewhere around 11:30ish. So that is what we are fixating on. So it's not clear yet. And people who wanted to know about the centers in Maharashtra, specifically Pune. So we haven't decided yet because it's under check due to the prevailing pandemic conditions. So
Have
we'll
the selection of the centers, and we have done the initial MOU with them.
Yeah.
But based on the nature of the pandemic, it'll be only a few days before that can be declared because it's going through certain. So all three, Nasik, Pune, and Mumbai, we'll get to know a little bit more of it as the day goes, and you will be able to. You will be the first to be informed. All the applicants.
All right. Last date for application for the exam.
It's 15th of March.
15th of March. Okay, so for those of you who are here, please go to our YouTube channel, look for this particular webinar, and in that there is the application link. So please do that. The fee structure, Priya, I'm not sure if this was covered. Priya's asking the fee structure.
Yeah, fee structure we have already covered, and it's for you, as in for BDES, it's 18 lakhs for 4 years, which is primarily the course fees, which we also call the tuition fees. And again, as I had already mentioned earlier, hostel fees is separate. Hostel and fooding is separate, which basically depends on the choice of the particular category of rooms, either triple sharing AC, non-AC, twin sharing AC, or non-AC. But the food is we have already fixated on 65,000. That's basically the annual fees for food.
So on the food, I just want to say, because I'm also having my food there for the last 10 months now. Yeah. So there are 4 meals for students. There's the afternoon heavy tea also, because these are young students and they are agile students, and therefore there's a 4 team, and the messes can accommodate about 1,200 students with social distancing and other norms which we are following. There are times for coming into the mess and times for going out of the mess. So once you're a hosteler, the mess is a compulsory adjunct to a hostel. If you're staying in a boys' hostel, which is about 500 meters or 700 meters, there's still on weekends, on weekdays, etc. There's a bus going up and down, although it is not required, but still there is a system of transport.
All right. So then sample papers. Okay. So a few more questions that have come on this chat window over here. Now the reason I know it's been answered in the Zoom chat, but for the people, for the benefit of those who are on YouTube, they've mentioned how many students in total, how many students have applied, and how many students in each discipline. That's been answered. But questions which have not been answered over here, are there any scholarships available? All right. Or for that matter, any reduction in fee for students of reserved categories, that's SC or ST, any of those?
So we don't follow. So there are various examples. We are young, so whatever is the offtake is deployed into making our campus and our infrastructure even better, as good as any global standard. Because we used to visit till March a number of institutions. A number of institution heads have come to us for tying up and so many others. So we find that most of our infrastructure is near global. Someone can look up at the KU website if the KU gives, university has some scholarships, but the only scholarship the UID gives is a scholarship for your summer abroad, for a full scholarship for your 15-day or a 20-day summer program in any institution based on your ranking and based on the choice, and a half scholarship whoever have come second in her section or cohort. So that's the only scholarship. We don't have any other categorization of what we say, which is generally seen in some aided universities of the government of India.
Reservations.
Yeah, some we are, since we are non-reserved, so we are a equal opportunity in university. We are innovation research led. We have no gender biases, and it's an equal opportunity university.
Fantastic. I think that's like okay. Someone's been asking also where you can get sample papers for the
It's
test.
there on the website, and the solved paper, which I'm sure is also getting put up, because that was one of the requirements when we were doing the mock test for the online. So the anyone applying for online, rest assured that they will go through the entire process of solving it much before, maybe 8th, 10th, or 11th, much before the final day, they'll get a sense of the mock test. Sample papers duly solved will also be there. That Gopal will attest to it within a day or two. If he'll check it out, it's available.
We've already put this up in the chat tree, so students can find it there. The link has been shared by Purnima.
Yeah.
All right.
But just be assured that they shouldn't take the paper. The structure is gospel, but the questions every year changes a bit. So that part of it, I need to put that caveat into the discussion.
Sure. Um, Finally, last question here is: could we get an estimate of the overall fee, including hostel and food?
Yeah, that Gopal will send you. You can just send it to all. Because what happens is that design schools generally have nearly about 2,000 or 3,000 per month expenditure based on the type of stationery, the type of material they need.
Right.
And we try to put that to the lowest, because we know what how to look at recycle, the entire spectrum of sustainability and carbon footprint. So that has been reducing over the years, and more things have moved into the digital. But some places there's still amount of physical nature, the toils, the paper which is required for garment construction and such other. So there's a cost to that. There is a provision shop which is just like a retail store, which students go and buy every provision which is required, including toiletries. So it's nearly a mini township in that sense. But the best part is it is there, which is can be called Rurban. The name is Kanavati Knowledge Village, but the InfoCity with TCS is not more than 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers. So all the hotspots, and there's a book I think someone can share, which has gone to our students this time on how and what is there. So I had a book which is they get it first, and I think that can be put up through the student council on the website so people to see everything in about us.
All right.
The food
Right.
stalls, the movie halls, the theaters, many things which, because it's all work and no play makes you know what. So you need bright minds who need to unwind also. So we just finished, let's say, the freshers night, and you have proms and all sorts of things too.
Yeah. So I'd like to probably conclude here. Um, just to say, so Bhavya, I hope your question has been answered. You'll get this information directly from UID. Yashpal, the course fee of 18 lakhs does not include the abroad visits. How much extra, please, that Gopal would be able to help you out with that. Could you please explain about the integrated MDiS course and placements? This is from Rajini. This has been covered earlier. So I'd request you, we are run out of time. So I'd request you to please go back on this webinar and have a look at that part of it. And Manoj Yadav is saying, is there any discount fees for wards of army personnel? There is no discount fee available.
From one veteran to all other youngsters.
All right. So thank you all for attending. We hope we've answered all questions. Colonel Bose, thank you so much for taking the time out. Devyani, Purnima, it's been great having you here. Gopal Krishna is the man who's made all this happen.
Thank you.
Gopal, thank you.
Leon,
Appreciate
first
all
of
what
all,
you've done.
on behalf of our president, Dimangshuda, and all the people there, very good. Thank you very much for inviting us, because when we both the people get together, the people understand. And you've thought a while to introduce us to your audience. And we wish you all the best. And we know how hard you are being working. So, in case you are more a foundation to the design world than us, you are nurturing, you are orienting them to look at brilliant careers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are on YouTube, please click on the like button if you like this webinar, and also subscribe to the DQ Labs YouTube channel if you've not done so already. Thank you so much for attending here. I'll be ending the stream now. But the UID team, please remain on
Okay.
and I'll just end this on YouTube. Thank you. All right. So